Good morning.
Morning.
How are you this morning?
Pretty good.
Good. Good. So am
Slept better than I have lately. So
I. Well, that's good.
that's always a plus.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, I'm using John's computer because mine's so old, the new versions of Zoom keep crashing.
Oh, gosh.
So um, I'd have to see if last time I used it, I couldn't figure out how to get there's view. Okay. The gallery view.
Oh, oh, good.
There. Got it.
Mr. Bynum is only a name for a little
Yeah,
bit.
I can see.
He, I don't know, needed to do something, but wanted to claim his spot, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah. Yes, and I had to download Zoom on John's machine, but
Ah,
luckily it didn't take as long as it often does.
yeah. Well, that's good.
So,
Yes, it's hard to know what you're going to get when you open it up sometimes. Although I recently found a repair person that um, I really like, and he's really helped me.
I fear mine is it's still functioning except for the newer pieces of software. So,
Uh-huh.
but it's real slow. I took it to the
Okay. What is that? Oh, no. I don't need your help right now, cat. Are you muted, Carol? What?
it asked me to unmute.
Oh,
So maybe I was.
okay.
Morning.
Morning.
Oh,
There we go. V for victory.
V for victory, V for Voluntown. Although that's not where I am right now, so I will change who I am.
That's all right. I know who you are.
Yeah, I know. It's a distraction. Anyway, for me anyway.
Oh,
Good
okay.
morning.
well, I could
Good
change
morning.
who I am because I'm not John
You're
either.
John.
I'm on
Well,
his machine.
Bill will be joining us. He had something else he had to do for a minute.
Took me a little while to get in. I don't know why, but who knows?
Is that
I'm out of practice getting into this one this way.
is it the Norwich Internet?
Oh God.
Okay. Good. So, any thoughts, questions, reports to begin?
I went to Tai Chi Day. We missed you, David. I was the only one from the school there.
Yeah.
There were other people I knew there because I know I know people who study with Jonas in London. So
Aha.
they were there. Yeah, I always enjoy it. I always enjoy kind of taking a session from somebody else, watching how similar and different the forms are. you know,
Yeah.
it's rainy, but there were enough tents that most of us get pretty warm, pretty dry.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, no, it was a good experience. I hadn't been in several years, so
Oh,
it was a
I'm
small
glad
group
you were
probably
there to,
because of the rain.
I'm glad you were there to represent us.
Yes.
I chose not to go just because I didn't want to take a chance on getting sick.
Right. Now I understand because it was, I mean, at some point when I was driving from Norwich to Colchester, it just was torrential rain on the highway. And I thought, ooh, I hope I heard they had a bigger tent, but it really wasn't that big.
Oh, really? Oh,
I mean, but most of the classes actually were outside, in a little drizzle at times.
uh-huh.
I chose to try not to get wet either.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I wore a raincoat with a hood too. So anyway, yeah,
Well, good. I'm
that was good. Yeah.
glad to hear that. Anyone else?
I need to ask again about the breathing on 7 because
Mm,
I've promptly forgot what you said and just didn't have the energy to try to go through the whole class to find that
I
10
just,
seconds when we talked about it.
yeah, I'm getting good at how do you scan this really quickly? How do you drag it?
Right, right. Um, well, you're exhaling it. You're inhaling as you go down,
Okay.
and you're. What
And
am I saying? You're exhaling as you go down, and you're inhaling as you come up.
okay. Exhale down, inhale up.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Anything for you, Mr. Nagel?
Um, these last number of weeks when we've done individual work have been really useful for me.
Hmm.
Um, so I certainly appreciate that. Both for, working on myself and watching other people go through the ringer too.
I hope it was not a
Nice way
ringer.
of putting it.
Oh, no, I'm teasing.
Just kidding. Yeah, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. No. Well,
But it's good. I mean, I think we can only learn really by doing it and having David, point out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, we get into patterns, and I
we
mean,
do.
unless there's somebody there to stop or adjust, the patterns keep getting more and more set, and sometimes
Yeah,
more wrong. So,
that's right. No, you're right. You're right. Very right.
yep. Yep.
And this is something we didn't really experience until the pandemic in terms of as much because of because of being on Zoom,
right.
Yeah, that's
being
true.
isolated for so long.
Yep. Yep. Well, we're going to, as I warned you last week, we're going to look at breathing again.
I love looking at breathing. I'm game.
Um, and one of the things I think I want to say is that sometimes when we get into doing reverse breathing and breathing without breathing, we sort of lose track of longevity breathing and the fact that that has to remain fully present while you are doing other forms of breathing. And so it is the basis. And so I'm gonna take you through that again today. And so the purpose of longevity breathing is to actually relax your body, your nerves, and your emotions. It is a way to handle any stressful situation by releasing yourself, letting it go, letting go of tension. You want to create a wave of relaxation in your body. Let your breathing release your tension. So I want you could do this this seated, although if you want to stand for it, you can. But I want you to really, if you're sitting, sit up straight, feet flat on the floor. Think about having your armpits open and your midriff open. Let yourself really just become aware and really extend your mind through your body. Really feel into your body. And begin to focus on breathing into your dantian, the lower dantian. And so, as we do basic longevity breathing, the dantian and abdomen expand as you inhale and contract on the exhale. And just focus on that, being aware of not letting the chest become involved. Just being fully aware of that breath in and out of the dantian. And really let yourself try to be aware of your dantian itself, which is located in the middle of your body, not on the surface, but in the middle. And then keeping the movement of the dantian going, I want you to begin to focus on the lower level of your sides. So we have low, middle, and upper areas of the sides. And your sides don't move as much as the dantian, obviously. Those ribs don't expand quite the same way as your abdomen. So when you're looking at the lower part of your side, it's the area of the midriff and perhaps a rib or two on the bottom. You can place a hand on your side, very gently, and just feel for a little movement if there's a question in your mind. But you do want some movement there. And then focusing your awareness a little bit further up on your sides, into the middle of the space between your midriff and your armpit. And that will move probably even less than the midriff area. But you still want to feel some absolute concrete movement as the ribs expand in that area. Keeping the dantian and the lower sides going at the same time. And then begin to feel the sides clear up into your armpit, adding that upper area so that your sides are expanding and contracting with your dantian all the way from your midriff to your armpit. Let your breath stay soft and long. Don't let it speed up. Now keeping the sides of the dantian moving, take your attention to your lower back, really all the way down to your sacrum and into that lower back area. And you want to have that area also expanding as you inhale and contracting as you exhale. take your attention to your mid-back, adding it in. So now back into the rib area, but in back. And here we have a very important element to be aware of, and that is the kidneys. So as you breathe into that mid-back area, you want to feel your kidneys expanding and contracting. And this is particularly important for the Jing, the original energy which is stored in your kidneys. Breathing into the kidneys can strengthen your Jing. It cannot increase its amount or length of life, but it can strengthen it. So feeling abdomen all the way up the sides, lower and mid-back and kidneys, all together. And then adding the upper back. And here you particularly have the fact that this movement massages the heart. So as you are expanding and contracting your upper back, you want to allow yourself to be aware of the heart expanding and contracting. Feel the dantian, the sides, the lower, mid-back, kidneys, upper back and heart, all moving together. Aware that that side movement also affects the liver and the spleen. So you are nourishing and massaging all the organs with your breathing. And notice how this breathing affects your brain, your emotions, your mind. And even your nerves. Everything should calm down a little bit and allow you to be more present. This much all of you should be able to do at this point. And yes, there is one more that's a little more difficult, and that is breathing into the brain. Of actually feeling the breath moving up through the neck and into the brain. And of course, there is chi moving with your breath. See if you can be aware of that too. So pause and relax. So questions or comments about that? How well did you feel you could or could not do that?
I think most of that, except for breathing into the brain, I have done before. We have done before. I've done here before.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So it just felt, yeah, good to be kind of, yeah, in a practice of it and reminded of all the aspects of it. But breathing into the brain was, yeah, but I felt like I was doing it.
Hmm. Good.
When we get to the upper back, um, you didn't mention the scapula, the shoulders at all there. Um, I assume that's engaged in that, or what?
Well, they are moving,
They're
obviously.
all connected.
They are part of the upper back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. But you're not specifically trying to move the scapula as an independent piece. Your focus really is e- expanding and contracting the entire upper back so that it massages the heart and actually the lungs as well. Particularly, particularly good for the health of the heart. And it is in combination with the movement of the diaphragm, which also then adds to the massaging of the heart.
I think for me, doing this in such a deliberate way made me realize how inattentive, even though I'm not totally inattentive, how inattentive I am and intentional about breath when we're actually doing,
Mhm.
going through the form. So.
Yep. And it's really important that you not be inattentive to that.
Yeah, I realized I wasn't on the rails there.
Well, I feel I'm not inattentive, but I'm partial. Not partial to it, but kind of not really breathing all the way in. But yeah, leave it at
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Mr. Nagel?
Um, I can feel it all over the place. The least amount in the lower back down to the sacrum, but I can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me always wants to have a measuring stick to
What's happening?
how much I'm, but I know the answer to this. So you just do it and you develop it and it's more and more and more and you just keep going and don't
Mm-hmm.
worry about the measuring stick. But the measuring
Mhm.
stick is, you know, floats in and out. So
Mm.
Yeah, I think we get so involved with everything else that's going on in a practice that we lose track of this of breathing, which is the first of the 16 Neigong elements that need to be present in any Qigong or Neigong or Tai Chi practice.
I, you I well, years ago, I ran long distances, so I learned the equivalent, of longevity breathing. So I've always done that. And now there are times, certainly while doing the form, but while I'm driving, that I
Mm.
intent,
Mm,
I
Mhm.
intentionally breathe. It's something to do that, doesn't distract from the driving, but
and
I
that's
hope.
you're absolutely right because
Yeah.
that's one of the good things about breathing is you can practice it anytime, anywhere. Nobody's going to know that you're
Yeah.
practicing
Right,
particularly.
right. They generally notice when you stop doing it.
Yeah, yes, they
Any
do.
length of time.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, Bill.
But
So, go ahead.
well, I found I've been doing this for a long time, but
Mm.
I think I've associated it, longevity breathing, with some sort of deep breathing. So there's always been a tension.
Mm.
And so you're starting it with the purpose is to relax. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, okay. just just keep it relaxed.
Mhm.
And that was it was enhanced the experience, shall we say.
Mm.
Yep.
Um, but I also found when breathing into the lower back, it was as if I had a barrier there, a
Mhm.
a wall that was in my back muscles. And then we went up a little bit higher, and you talked about expanding the ribs, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, there's nothing between my back and my dantian. I mean, it's right there. So just
Mm.
back means it's tense and pain because it's
Oh.
jotted
Mm.
in all the time, and so I'm surrounded with that. So it was a good realization to
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
it's all it can be all soft and connected.
Mm.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you don't get that relaxation, you cannot breathe into the brain,
Mhm.
Right.
which is really eventually a really important um, final stage in this.
When I got to the brain, and I think I was doing some breathing into the brain,
Mm-hmm.
um, the question popped up. Well, where do you exhale from the brain? That wasn't an issue anywhere else. But okay, it's all in the brain. How does it get out?
Actually, it goes back down again.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was thinking, okay, your nose is there. You can just exhale.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Very
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Really close there.
Yeah.
But it also can, some of it will go back down through the neck. There is a,
And part of the contraction process.
well, actually, if you you can't see because I've had too many shirts on, but if you tuck your fingers in underneath your collarbone
Hmm.
um, as you're doing this, you should be able to feel um, a change, a movement as you inhale and exhale. So there is a passage in both directions there, but obviously in and out through the nose is part of all of it. The brain as well as even the dantian or any other part. Yeah.
Well, when you're breathing into your brain, you don't really have access to your brain through your throat. So it's more of a spine brain connection.
Actually, it follows the the blood vessels to the brain.
Oh, so we're talking more circulatory system than,
Well, it's all circulatory, yes.
well, I mean, there's the nervous system and then lymph. There's all those types of tissues.
Yep. Yes.
Well, but that's an interesting idea is imagining, or yeah, and we've talked about mind intent. We haven't talked about the brain very much, if at all, in my recollection. But
Hmm.
thinking about breathing through the circulatory system is that that that's a great image for me.
Mm-hmm. Good. So this is a great practice, I think. I mean, you don't have to take quite as long as I took with it, but particularly if there's any part of it that doesn't seem to be fully functioning for you, to do a little bit of practice focusing on that when you're driving, as was suggested, or standing waiting in line somewhere, or well, whatever
Mhm.
time you find you're paused, if that happens for you. So it's something that you can pay attention to. And it is important that it be comfortable and smooth and something that you don't have to think about when you go to reverse breathing. Because longevity breathing doesn't go away when you do reverse breathing. It continues as part of it.
So
Hmm?
would this be, I'm trying to think, a definition for longevity breathing? We talked about how to do it, but is it breathing into all the organs? Or, I mean, it's more than that, but the concentration, your mind intent is to breathe into all the organs, and as you expand, and then empty those voids, or partially empty those voids, those as you um, exhale. Or
Yes.
if it's reverse breathing, it'll be the other way around.
What do you mean by other way around?
Well, that's a good question.
So,
When you say reverse breathing, I'm thinking the other way around. But exactly what am I thinking about then?
so the only thing, well, not the only thing, but the primary thing that's the other way around in reverse breathing is that the abdomen and the um, diaphragm and the dantian are going inward and then out
Hmm.
in the opposite
Not out and then in, right?
correlation as they are in longevity breathing.
Mhm. So it's just the diaphragm. You're still pulling air into your. The whole description of the breathing in is the same. It's just the diaphragm that's
Well, and the
reversed.
dantian,
Yeah,
not
And the what?
dantian.
and then the dantian.
I mean, it is very easy when we go into reverse breathing to just pull the dantian in and keep expanding the diaphragm.
Hmm.
That's the um, erroneous way of doing reverse breathing that we sometimes think of being reverse breathing. But reverse breathing, the first method, has to involve both the dantian and the diaphragm coming in simultaneously and going out simultaneously. And you're not doing those movements as always with strong muscular contraction. I mean, I won't say that there is no muscular movement because obviously the diaphragm is a very big muscle, as are the muscles of the abdomen. But you're doing it more with mind intent than with contracting the muscles.
Now, David, with a dantian, I've thought of that more as a pulsing or contracting, expanding kind of thing rather than and I guess that's movement, but it's not moving like the diaphragm is. it's sort of pulps. That's the way I've imagined it.
But, well, I don't agree with you. It is moving like the diaphragm.
It is moving like the diaphragm. Okay.
Absolutely. So in longevity breathing, the abdomen and the diaphragm actually are expanding. They're moving outwardly on the inhale and coming back in on the exhale. And in reverse breathing, they're doing just the opposite. But they are both involved, and they are
Mhm.
both moving. They're not, one of them isn't sitting still.
Mhm.
They're both moving. Yeah? So when we talk about reverse breathing, uh, the the first type, um, the main point is the way that it works the internal organs, and most specifically, the way it really can work the central left and right channels more strongly than regular or longevity breathing can. But the biggest single thing about it is, in one sense, that when what this breathing does is you can use the inhaling of the breath to open and drive your limbs to extend, or you can cause the breath coming back in to pull or close in, whatever you want to inside you, your organs, your limbs, or your spine. So when you inhale, the top of your belly, where the diaphragm is going to come down. The bottom is going to come up, and they're going to meet in the middle. When they meet in the middle, your abdomen has gone as far back towards your spine as it's going to go, and that's an inhale. When you exhale, everything inside your organs is going to go up to your diaphragm and down to your pelvic floor. So that when you inhale and you're coming down to the center, you're trying to get all the energy of your body to come to your spine. At the same time, you're trying to pull the energy from your feet into that midpoint in your spine. And then when you exhale, you go out to the bottom of the feet and up to the crown of your head. So, again, we're going to practice for a minute. So, you can do this, I think, preferably standing, but you may do it seated if you're not feeling up to standing today. But just be very aware. Really getting your mind inside. Inside your body. And then use your mind to go through every part of your body. Track and become aware of what it's encountering. So start at the crown of your head, down through the neck, and the chest, the abdomen, your hips and quad, thighs, calves, ankles, and the feet. And now begin to do this first method of reverse breathing. And with the sensation of your breath, use your mind intent to make it go through your body from your head down to your fingertips and your toes. So that you get some sort of clear physical sensation of what your intent is like when somehow it combines with your breath. Now bring your arms out in front of you. And as you inhale, use the force of your breath to move the tissues of your arm closer to your torso. And you don't have to physically move. Remember, you can lengthen. You can lengthen the fascia. You don't have to physically bend the arm. And then use your mind intent and your breath to lengthen from your shoulder out to your fingertips, so that the body is moving because they're moving. It is being moved by your breath and your intent. Now extend what's happening as your arms come in slightly towards you. Let that coming in also go from your head down to your feet. And when you extend from your feet up to your head, out to your fingertips, let the breath lengthen your tissues. And keep on doing this until you get a very clear sense of how you can have breath lengthen your body either inward or outward, so that your mind intent is inside your body and your mind intent is linking your breath and your physical tissue. So as you breathe in and out, your tissues move, but your breath has a sensation of being inside your physical tissue. Your mind intent is inside your breath. It's inside the breath that's moving inside your body and causing your physical tissues to move. And there's something else in that breath that is not breath. And that is, of course, the chi. So let your intent now seek the chi. And when you find it, bring your chi from your fingertips to your shoulder and let your body just shrink a little bit. And then let your intent go from your shoulder to your fingertips and let your body extend and expand or lengthen a little bit. And of course, using all these parts, you're going to put them into each of the movements of God's. But remember that it comes from a meeting of your ability to recognize what the breath is, what it's doing. Recognize the nerves and what they're doing. And then recognizing the chi, which is going to encapsulate all three of them. Then all you have to do is move the chi, and everything else goes along for the ride. The chi is the driver of the chariot, not the chariot itself. Chi tells the horses how to run, tells the chariot how to get pulled, but it's still up to the driver. So practice putting this into your gods this week. And pause and relax. So, questions or thoughts?
When you first were speaking about bringing the diaphragm and the dantian together, my head was going, how do you do that? How do you do that? But when I stood up and did it, I just did it.
Yeah. Good. Good.
Oh, yeah, that's how. Don't think about it. Just do it.
Do it.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. No, I think for me that was excellent. I think I had correlated my breathing with the movement, but not really integrated. So I think for practicing this week, that's gonna take things to a new level.
Good. Anything else? Okay.
No, I think at one point I thought, oh, I'm feeling my upper body more than my lower body, which is kind of always what I think. But then as soon as I thought that, I really just was able to engage the whole body.
Good.
So that was helpful.
Yeah, we discovered that we do that a lot, I think. It's so much easier to focus up here where the hands are moving.
Yeah.
But if you bring your attention and your intent to the lower body, it's all happening there.
It's all happening. Get back to the 5 points. Yep, there's 2 of them down there.
Yeah. Indeed. Good. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, David.
Good class. Yep.
Have a great week.
You too, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. You're welcome.
I will definitely do my best to be there next week.
Okay. I hope you have a good speech tonight.
I do too. You know, technology is not my strong point. Storytelling is. So I have to practice at 10:30 with the host and my it's a friend who we're doing this together. So it's kind of back and forth storytelling. But then you have to occasionally say, put that picture up on the screen.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
Right.
But I can stay on for a little while. I don't need to leave until, so I have a few minutes for the next class.
Okay. Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Um, just because I wanted to tell you, Joanne, before I forgot. In tomorrow's class, one of the things that we do, of course, is that we do a Qigong practice before we actually meditate.
Okay.
And I'm going to be teaching the marriage of heaven and earth, which I don't know if you've done before, but it doesn't really matter because you can use gods.
Mm.
So I was going to say to you, you don't have to learn.
I did Marriage of Heaven and Earth
Oh,
years
you
ago.
did?
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember if you had or not.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Um,
But I
so,
do like God's better.
yeah, well, God's is
I
more
mean, we're
complete.
practicing it more, but I took to it in a different way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once I
So-
got past I can't do that. But what? You want me to what?
But nonetheless, you can use gods
Okay.
if you like for that. So
Okay. How many you're Carol, you're not going to do it?
no,
Did you say?
No,
How many of us are there?
5.
no,
And is it some people are there, some people are online, or is everyone
Yep.
online?
Yep. Yes.
Okay.
So-
I think for now I'll have to be online, but maybe in the summer when I can try to clear out my space more, I could be
Yeah.
there. I'll see.
Absolutely.
And it's 10 o'clock, right?
Right.
1 hour?
I did
Is it-
send. Yeah, approximately.
You did send something. I saw that. Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. People are doing both, coming here and
Uh-huh.
Zoom, so no problem. So, any form questions come up this week?
I have to do more work on gargoyles,
Mm,
or maybe just do more of it, because I think I've had it and I maybe have lost it.
Mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. I did do a little work on that one this week, and I was like, ooh, yeah, I know what you mean.
But
Yeah, there's, you know, part of that also has to do with the positioning of the feet in offering incense. Because if you have the left foot turned too far out in incense, I mean the not the left one, the right foot turned too far out in incense. It makes it very hard to rotate left to go into the first gargoyles. So that step back after the kick with the leg in incense, your leg is going back, but at the same time your toes are turning slightly in. So it's one of those movements where the two different things happening. It's like your leg is screwing in so that that foot doesn't land turned too far out. So that's a a piece to look at. Do you understand what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said, basically where does the foot go down? And it makes a difference.
Yes.
Absolutely. Not only
The oh, go ahead.
I was going to say not only for incense, but for gargoyles.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
On Saturday, one of the workshops I did was with Mei Li, and she had us doing Jebu over and over and over again as part of a kind of a medical kind of series. And it's interesting. So part of it is just kind of how different teachers kind of get you into that position, and part of it is that there's the people who take the class, some of them are they're there for their first time experiencing Tai Chi, right?
Yeah.
There's an acupuncturist I spoke to, people who, so it's interesting to kind of have to kind of do this, but kind of start, in some ways you're kind of, okay, you're all there at some point.
Yeah.
So I felt like the good thing was not only practicing it, but just kind of feeling like I feel like my knees are getting better.
Oh, good.
So I can actually put things where they're supposed to be, as opposed to kind of pretending.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was helpful. And so then when I, came back and, did the forum on whatever Monday, it felt, it felt better.
Oh, good.
So that was kind of like, I thought it would be more problematic because I was a little worried more that I'd done it too much. That kind of, how do you protect yourself? How do you not overdo it?
Yeah.
And then how do you also do it on, on uneven grass so you don't fall over
Absolutely.
in the rain under the tent?
Oh, God.
Yeah, all of the factors. But that was helpful, actually, to just kind of focus on doing that for a while.
Oh, good.
But I don't. Yeah, it's always the challenge of practice time. Although it was helpful to say, okay, you can do it. Well, 1 minute's too little. There's an ad on TV. I don't know if it's still on. I don't want. Which was kind of like, you need more than, somebody would like go to the gym, do one sit up and then leave, or something like that, or have a healthy meal with 1 P. So 1 minute just feels a little too little, but
Yeah.
I tell myself 5. And then I did more each time I did that. So,
Oh, good.
so that was helpful.
Yes. Which piece of the gods are you going to do in 1 minute?
Well, right. I mean, you could.
The standing.
I
the
guess you
standing
could go
and
through one of
carrying.
each. I don't know. I've never tried to time myself. Right. Yeah. Right. Get 7. How many of those can we do in a minute? Right.
Depends on your breath.
Well, and my problem is rushing, right? And so that it's like needing a little more time to slow down.
Yeah, so your focus is how few can I do in a minute?
How few can I do? Can I get one good one in a minute?
Yeah, exactly.
My breathing's getting good, but it's not that good. They're quite, get it that long.
Okay. Well,
But anyway, and I think I owe you money for the I do owe you money for the meditation.
yeah.
Can I just give you that next week, or would you? Because I know sometimes
Sure.
I put it in the mail and it takes that long to get to you.
Oh, no,
It's
that's
up to you.
fine. That's fine, Joanne.
And how much is it?
180.
Yeah, you tell me. Okay, same as okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
All right. Good. Thank you.
thank you, and
Hopefully, I will definitely see you. Hopefully, I will. Yeah, it's in the book. It's in my book. I scheduled
Okay.
something for 11:30 next week. No sooner.
okay.
All right. Thank you. Have a good week.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Have- Good
Bye.
night.
Well, it's not night yet.
Good night. Good
No,
luck. No, it's
for
not
her.
good.
Joanne to have a good night.
Oh, have a good.
Oh, thank you. Oh my God.
Is this a Zoom thing that you're doing?
It's a Zoom thing with my friend. Yeah, there's a group up in Massachusetts that's planning on doing a month of short and long peace walks. And so they have invited Mandy Carter. She and I did some of the Continental Walk together, and then she did the whole thing. And then she also organized a walk from Durham, North Carolina to Seneca, New York, where there was a women's peace encampment. 3 women walked all the way, and then other people joined along the way and the like. So they just want to hear stories. So I did a little bit of work on some of the history and put together images of kind of going back to the Aldermaston March in the United Kingdom, and just kind of like little vignettes and little stories, and
Yeah.
give them a little history, tell them some of the fun and not so fun things, and
Yeah.
inspire them and have a good discussion. So
Yeah.
that's the goal.
How do you deal with bathroom breaks?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. What do you do with you need you always need a car that accompanies you, right? Like you have a support vehicle. And if somebody needs to go, now with cell phones, it's a little easier. You kind of sit, and usually the support vehicle knows where the next, gas station is or whatever.
Yeah.
The Vets for Peace did a walk from Maine to Washington, and they actually got this little tent that they could set up in a couple of minutes with a pot. So that if they were really out in the middle of nowhere, they could do it quickly. They didn't need that once they got to Connecticut. There's always enough.
Yeah.
But there was a peace walk the week before Easter from New Haven to New London, and Frida was on it, and Madeline, the youngest, went with her. And Madeline figured out after day 2 that she could ride in the support car and keep the driver, who was a friend, happy. So she's like, I'll do support today. She's 11 right now.
Aha.
Smart kid. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, you're right. No, bathroom breaks are just also, if you do long walks, what you find is the walkers get exhausted. They do not want to do an event every night.
No.
They need their own space. They need time. They need laundry. They need, decent food. Just that kind of care and feeding and taking care of the walkers, having enough breaks, having enough of their personal time. At the same time, they're there to talk to people. They're there to give people a message. So, and the message isn't just from their signs walking down the road, right? So,
Yeah.
how do you kind of create that balance? If you do just a lot of little short walks, then that's different. But even when the vets came through town, we had them for 5 days. I didn't walk for 5 days. I did one long walk and then 2 days that were shorter, and other days I just did the support stuff for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's balancing. And then a couple of them, and they were veterans, so a few of them were kind of really struggling with post-traumatic stress. Let's just say that. So that's another level, right? If you're working with the veterans, or if you're working with the monks who have dedicated their lives to walking for peace. And so that is what they do. But they also walk at 4 miles an hour. So you have to figure out how you get them to slow down if you've got Vietnam vets who are older people,
Yeah.
and who can't do that fast, So I kind of had to deal with a lot of those different things.
Yeah. I never thought of
anyway.
that particularly, but
What's that?
I never thought of that particularly, but yeah.
Yeah. You just, I wouldn't have thought about it either. It's just what you experience. And then you go, oh, okay, remember that for the next time.
Yeah.
Pass that on to the next organizers, like what's needed. And then also the organizers have responsibility to be clear in advance rather than, we want an event every night. Like, give us some breaks.
Yeah.
Like kind of how do we negotiate that if you've got a really good group that really wants to hear folks? But a couple of times I did that for the Golden Rule, which was a boat, not a walk. But, we did a big concert for them and they didn't come. They're all excited about it. And then they're like, oh, it's been a long day. Luckily the community came, but they wanted to, connect more with the crew. So that was quite disappointing. But, we were about month 5 for them.
Yeah.
So even though they were like very excited to have a Charlie King concert, they were like, ugh.
Yeah.
So by that point they were burnt out on being hosted.
Yeah.
Like most of them went back and stayed on the boat, even though we'd spent all this time getting them a place to stay. Okay, you know,
leave
my
me
answer is
alone.
not next year. No. Anyway, all right. Well, I should go and get ready for this
Okay.
next. See you all
right.
later.
Thank you.
All right.
See you
Bye-bye.